All righty, welcome everyone to the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living's Empowering People and Communities series. Michelle has shared the topic with you all today, and I tell you, we are in for some very innovative and strategic ways that we can hopefully prevent and encourage our teens to not use any form of tobacco. So we are glad that you joined us. And now my colleague, Michelle Oza, the TFL Social and Health Disparities Coordinator, she will share with us why we are here today. Michelle?
Thank you, Mitzi. Again, my name is Michelle Ozad, the Social Health Disparity Senior Coordinator, as Mitzi stated. And today we are the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, and we understand that it's an essential action of health, equity, and building the capacity of individuals and communities. Thus, TFL has developed the Empowering People and Community series. This series consists of educational events, virtual and hybrid, coordinated by the TFL staff featuring stakeholders such as guest presentations speakers from public health policy, medical communities, community advocates, and subject matter experts to reach professionals and community members from across Louisiana and beyond. The mission of this EPCS series is to equitably bringing health education, resources, and hope to people, populations, and communities in Louisiana. Now I will introduce our moderator, our host for today, Ms. Mitzi LaSalle. She is our regional manager with the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, a program of the Louisiana Public Health Institute and the Louisiana Cancer Research Center. Mitzi works in central, southwest, and southeast Louisiana to educate these communities and stakeholders on initiatives that help reduce and prevent tobacco use, which includes vaping. Now, with further ado, we'll have Mitzi come back and we'll get our webinar started.
All righty. Thank you so much, Michelle. And welcome again, everyone. I'd like to now share with you who will be joining us for this very important conversation. So, our panelist for today, we will hear from Valerie Huntley. Valerie has over 20 years of experience in marketing and communications and promotions. She has worked in various communications industries, TV, radio, print, advertising agencies, and economic development organizations. Valerie is currently our Senior Communications Manager for the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living. We will then hear from Leslie Petros, who is a registered dietitian for 26 years of experience, and she is the student wellness educator for the Calcasieu Parish School Board, where she leads comprehensive school health and wellness initiatives. In her role, she supports students' physical, emotional, and social well-being through evidence-based education, school garden programs, and partnerships with community health organizations, bringing a holistic approach that focuses on resilience, healthy decision-making, life skills, and strong community connections. And then to share and wrap things up, we have Mr. Charles Lehigh. He is the monitoring, evaluation, and learning analysis for LPHI. He has worked with TFL since 2023, where he started out as an epidemiology and evaluation fellow for TFL. His previous work as a student has encompassed various topics in public health, including mosquito ecology, outbreak response, and study design. Thank you all so much for agreeing to partner with us and to be here for this very important conversation that we will share with the state of Louisiana today. Now, our learning objectives are questions that will be answered today. Why consistent positive messaging matters in promoting behavioral change. How engaging youth for peer-to-peer support works, and a strategic process of developing a youth campaign, Those are some very important topics that we will highlight and you will learn from today. Now, to get things started, innovations in youth engagement from idea to impact. We'd like to welcome Valerie Huntley. She is TFL's Senior Communications Manager. Now, Val, tell us about these innovations in youth engagement.
Thank you so much, Mitzi. Good morning again, everyone. Today, as Mitzi stated, I'll be presenting our school bathroom decals project, which is part of TFL's efforts to reduce youth vaping and connect students with resources to quit. And this happens by utilizing health communication strategies that focus on prevention and cessation. If we can go to, yes, next, please. And encouraging quitting and discouraging initiation of tobacco use and vaping. Health communications interventions, especially mass media campaigns, are proven to encourage smokers to seek help and prevent individuals from starting to smoke or vape. This project is part of a larger strategic communications efforts that TFL has adopted that focuses on youth prevention and cessation. TFL's mass media efforts includes a range of strategies such as promotional materials, newsletters, annual campaigns, social media outreach, and earned media like regular interviews on local stations. These combined efforts help maintain consistent messaging statewide. Before we get into the bathroom decal project, I wanted to talk about a few campaigns that we have created this year that speaks to collaboration and listening to that community voice, that audience, and partners to create a unified voice and strengthen our messaging to youth and adults about tobacco use and vaping. Next slide. So the first collaboration was with our agency of record. We partnered with them and we engaged 6 media influencers to expand reach and engagement. So the influencers acted as trusted messengers, helping deliver evidence-based information in a way that resonates with priority audiences. In addition to organic influencer content, the messaging was amplified through paid media campaigns. This allowed TFL to extend beyond existing audiences to optimize reach and reinforce key prevention messages across Louisiana. And then the next campaign that I wanted to highlight was where we also partnered with AmeriHealth Caritas. And we distributed vaping prevention posters to 55 school-based health centers to create an environment for youth that gives them consistent, evidence-based messaging and reinforcement. These materials focused on both the harms of vaping and the stress and anxiety that often leads students to vape, as well as information on how to access resources to quit. So building on these efforts, in the fall of 2024, TFL partnered with the Calcasieu Parish Public Schools, next slide please, to launch a targeted bathroom signage campaign with QR link cessation resources. The decal creative graphics were presented to the school board at the Lake Charles Vaping Town Hall, which, if you have not been to one of our town halls, it's events that we have been having. We've had about 4 now, but we do them across the state of Louisiana. And it's really to bring together the community, also community officials, public officials, school officials, students, to really talk about the vaping epidemic, talk about what they're doing in their official capacity and in their communities, and then also brainstorm about some other ideas. So at that Lake Charles Vaping Town Hall, we presented those decal graphics to the Calcasieu Parish Public School official. And because of for some background, because of the rise of youth vaping, this prompted the TFL regional managers, who are our team that is on the ground in those communities. This prompted the TFL managers to come up with a way to address the concerns around the normalization of vaping behavior within school environments and the increased use reported by the local area schools, and provided visible and consistent intervention in schools. And we also wanted to reach the students where they were with everyday reminders that challenge that behavior. The interest and leadership buy-in from Calcasieu Parish schools allowed TFL to pilot test the intervention for the 2024-2025 school year across 26 middle and high school students before initiating wider application across the state of Louisiana. Next slide. So again, the TFL regional managers, they heard the needs of the schools and saw a need to create messaging to let youth know that they are harming their bodies. Through research about what messaging was working, the comms team based our decal project off the FDA's The Real Cost campaign, ensuring it was grounded in research and proven prevention strategies. So initially, we created the decals, which you see here on the screen, utilizing not only a headline, but also more verbiage, giving more details about the harmful effects of vaping. But after surveying a small group of youth, we discovered that they preferred less verbiage and the effective and more effective messaging that hit them when they walked in the bathroom. So, next slide. If you look at what we came up with, you'll see here that our project focused on placing these 4-inch round anti-vaping decals into school restrooms with just the headline that was like very impactful. We put them specifically on mirrors and stall doors. And these locations were very intentional as the restrooms we were told were one of the most common places where vaping occurs. By placing these messages directly in these spaces, we create a consistent and unavoidable reminder that vaping is harmful and that help is available. The messaging combines not only humor, messaging that captures your attention, but also positive affirmations that encourage healthier behaviors. All messages are brief and very impactful, such as, it's a lot easier to wipe your butt than your lungs, or you have the power to create your own path, live vape free. Each decal included a QR code and a text number, giving students instant access to quitting support when they needed it. Next slide. So as a result of the vaping bathroom signs in Calcasieu Parish, TFL also partnered with Violink to develop a series of vaping prevention bathroom decals centered on youth mental health. These decals were designed to resonate with students by addressing the sources of their stress and anxiety through empathetic messaging like, feeling alone? Put down the vape. Help is here. A focus group was conducted to evaluate the effectiveness of this new approach, and the finalized decals, which you see here on the screen, were shared with Violink for distribution and integration into their youth outreach efforts. Importantly, the campaign acknowledged that many students vape due to stress and anxiety, and it promotes healthier coping strategies. Recently, we also converted these decals into poster size and utilized them for the partnership with AmeriHealth Caritas, as you saw in a previous slide. So, next slide. So, through the survey administered by our evaluation team, which you'll hear about later, as next steps, we are creating what we're calling an anti-vaping promotions plan, which outlines plans to extend messaging beyond just the restrooms through announcements, events, and school communications platforms. This anti-vaping promotions plan aims to reduce and prevent student vaping and tobacco use across middle and high schools in Louisiana. The plan outlines a unified multi-channel communication strategy designed to consistently inform, engage, and empower students with knowledge about the harmful effects of vaping and tobacco use, while also providing practical tips to support healthier choices. The tools included serve as ongoing reminders that vaping is not the answer and help foster open, supportive dialogue within school communities. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you you so much, Val, for sharing that information. And yes, we will have a question and answer section that will come up. So we want to take this time to remind you, if you have any questions or concerns that you would like to share, please share them in the Q&A section of this platform, and we will get to that. We're going to definitely save some time so that we can get to that. So thank you again, Val, for sharing that information and sharing how it all got started and with the pilot program, and that it has developed into a campaign that can be partnered with in any school or school district within the state of Louisiana. So now joining us is Leslie Petros. She is the Calcasieu Parish School Student Wellness Educator. Welcome, Leslie. This is going to be a candid conversation with Leslie and I. Leslie was on the in the beginning, so the idea part of this strategy. And so we would love for you to share how all of this unfolded. So explain what you're seeing in the schools or hearing from administrators about how vaping is affecting students.
Okay. What we're really seeing in the schools is that vaping has become an addiction issue for many students, not just experimentation now, they're dependent, and that makes it hard for them to stop. You can also tell that it's happening just by patterns. Their frequent bathroom trips every hour or every other hour, usually in groups. Even though they're not being caught, we know that it's happening. Another big concern is how little students understand the risk. They're often surprised when we talk about sharing vapes and the fact that they have no idea what's in them, or that you can add things to them and they just have no idea. That piece really doesn't register with them. I've even heard that they don't think THC is harmful now. They don't connect that as being bad. So overall, there's a real gap between what students think vaping is and the real risk and dangers involved, even though we're doing education in all of our schools now, in middle and high school. Even some elementaries are getting the vaping education.
Wow. So share with us there in Calcasieu Parish, because we do know that every school district is different. So just kind of share with us, what happens when a student is caught with, a vaping device or any form of tobacco.
Following a complete school investigation, the first offense is a 2-day suspension and a referral to our MARC Center for counseling. And then THC vapes were reported to Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office immediately. And the second offense is a mandatory expulsion hearing, and usually ending up in our alternative schools.
But a part of that I am hearing it, and that's one thing that we want to key in on, and I will share, with all of our listening audience, is that TFL, the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, we do have a recommended school disciplinary policy that we can, share with each school district, and of course you can tweak it, to your district. But one of the most important parts about that policy is that it is more restorative and more supportive. And so where there is education about the harmful effects of vapes, and that is a part of you all's process as well. So that's really good to know and to hear.
Yeah.
So now explain how this project went from an idea to impact in those 26 schools, because you played an integral part in that.
Okay. This really started with ongoing conversations with Janice Ackley. We were starting to see in our schools, especially a sharp increase in student vaping when I stepped into my role in 2021. It honestly felt like we were in an all-out effort to combat vaping, trying to reach as many students as possible, particularly at the middle school level before the habits began. At that time, I was actively searching for resources, posters, curriculum, anything that I could put my hands on to educate and raise awareness. I'm a dietitian, and so I do nutrition education, but I didn't realize I would be doing vaping education at the time. But I did find some great materials. And I remember seeing an addiction poster in the bathrooms at Benton High School where I previously taught, and I reached out to see if those were available. And that's when the idea evolved. Janice introduced the concept of bathroom decals and asked if we'd be interested in piloting that program in Calcasieu Parish. And I immediately jumped on the offer because I knew I was desperate and anything that I could try was well worth it. From there, it grew into something much larger. We put them in 26 schools. And at the end of the day, if it helps one student, then we've done our job. It's absolutely worth it.
Awesome. So it started out as a conversation, and I will
Sure.
definitely give kudos to my predecessor, who was my partner for a long time, Janice Ackley, out there in Calcasieu Parish, and she was the TFL regional manager at the time, and worked on that project, and you all worked very close together. And so, sometimes where a conversation can start, it can turn into a strategic and impactful campaign.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw with this project, right?
Right. That's right.
Good. So now you are the student wellness educator for Calcasieu Parish. So share with other school districts who may be tuned in on the importance of innovative engagement of our youth to benefit our youth.
As a student educator, one thing I've learned is that traditional approaches don't always reach today's students. If we want to truly impact their choices, we have to meet them where they are and engage in ways that feel relevant and real to their daily lives. And so, not just preaching to them, peer-to-peer education is important. It's also important that our efforts aren't just one-time interventions. Those don't work either. Consistent, creative reinforcement helps shifts awareness over time and supports healthier decision making. For any district, my advice would be don't be afraid to think outside the box. Even small, innovative ways can have a meaningful impact. When we engage students in ways that resonate with them, we have a much better chance of influencing real lasting change. And that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that information. And what are you hoping will be the next in this tobacco and vaping prevention campaign? Do you have any, new ideas that you want to share with us, or kind of what are your hopes? That was 26 schools. What are you hoping to see there in Calcasieu Parish?
Looking ahead, I think I really want to expand this campaign into digital space, especially through social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels. That's where our students are. That's what they're searching for. Um, it's where we have an opportunity to reach them in a way that feels familiar and engaging. The goal would be to share short, impactful content that highlights the real dangers of vaping while also providing clear, accessible resources for students who may want help quitting. By combining what we've already done in schools with a strong social media presence, we can enforce those messages beyond the classroom and meet students where they are, both physically and digitally. And even, targeting fourth and fifth graders. I've been doing education as young as third graders, which is scary and it's sad.
Yeah.
But if the parents are vaping, they don't see anything wrong with it. It's normalized at their household. So
And
those are
and
some
as
issues.
Yeah, and as we see even with the marketing, when we walk
Yeah.
into convenience stores and see with the marketing of vapes, they are brightly colored. They are have cartoon characters on them. They are extremely enticing,
Yeah.
to our youth. And
Right.
so that
And the
is
flavors.
something. Yeah, and the flavors,
Mhm.
absolutely. And so that is something that is enticing to our youth. So we have just a few more minutes, and I'm just going to kind of spring this one on you, Leslie.
Okay.
But it is not just TFL, and it is not just the Calcasieu Parish school system that is working on prevention and healthier living campaigns there in Southwest Louisiana. You and I are a part of the Healthier Southwest Louisiana work group. And
Yes.
there's a part of that concentrates specifically on youth and youth education. Can you just share with the listening audience more about that? Because you definitely have been a part of the work group longer than I.
Yeah. Sure. Our work group comes together every month. Different agencies are involved in the Southwest Louisiana region. MCAL is one of them. The Office of Public Health is another one. Those are big players in our group. Um, Southwest Youth Foundation is another one that comes to those meetings on a regular basis. Mitzi, you're there. But we get together and we talk about what the needs are, where we can influence our kids, how we can connect with them. So we do a lot of health fairs in the schools now. We've started that. And so all those groups come together and educate students on different topics. They also have a catalog, which is helpful. Teachers, we promote that for our teachers, and they can call me and we can schedule, anxiety and depression talks in the classrooms, opioid use and prevention, suicide awareness, dangers of vaping, all of those hard topics that students need to hear about. So those outside communities can come in, organizations can come in and talk to those students about those topics.
Awesome. Yes, some really great work that is taking place in Southwest Louisiana. And I just wanted to kind of lift that up.
Okay.
And hopefully some other folks in Central Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana, South Central Louisiana, the entire state of Louisiana, can kind of get some nuggets from, some of the work that is taking place with these. And I'm hearing just a lot of collaboration.
Yes, ma'am. That's where it starts. Not one person can do this. It's a whole team approach that's necessary.
Awesome. So Leslie, thank you so much again for being open and sharing with us, and hang around. Some folks may have some questions at the end when we have time for that, and we would love for you to be able to share. So again, thank you so much for sharing with us and being a champion for youth wellness. So we got the students' input when developing the decals. Then 6 months after the decals had been in the bathrooms, we went back to the students to see what type of impact did those decals make on them or make on their peers. And so to find out that information and to give us a report on how that went, let's welcome Mr. Charles Lehigh. He's an analyst for LPHI and who will share the results of the survey taken by the students. Charles, thank you so much for being with us. And tell us what were those students thinking?
Well, good morning. Yeah, so as Mitzi introduced, once the survey, the decals were distributed, about 6 months later, we came into the schools and distributed surveys to garner feedback on the student perceptions. Really covers, some visibility on the survey, on the signs, the perceptions of the signs, and where else, these signs could be placed within the school. So it's just some background. Again, they were, like I mentioned, what they were surveyed on. Just over 1,000 students responded to the feedback survey from schools where these signs were placed. And of course, all of these questions were optional. So, there might be some variance in how many students responded to certain questions that you might see on some other graphs. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as for demographics, about half of the survey was female, and just a little under half was male. Some, slight prefer not to answers. As for grades, overwhelmingly ninth grade, but I believe the ninth grade also counted some middle school as well. So it was really overwhelmingly like ninth and below as students who responded to the survey. And as for schools, most of the students came from Barbie High, but some were from Westlake. And as you can see there, W.W. Lewis Middle School was another leading response rate school. Next slide. So for visibility, just under half of the respondents recalled seeing the signs in the bathrooms, but those that did said that the messaging, bright colors, and locations of the signs really helped them to stand out. As you can see here, about 60% mentioned that they were somewhat noticeable. So really a really good majority of the students, mentioned that the signs were noticeable. They didn't just blend into the background of them where they were placed. And as you can see, about a third mentioned design or color as one of the main things that caught their attention. Just a little bit over 30% said nothing in particular. Another 30% said text. So yeah, there was a decent level of visibility within these signs, but as you can see too, in some future feedback that they gave, we made some adjustments to the signs. Next slide, please. As for perceptions, over half of the students mentioned that they weren't very effective. But again, this question wasn't necessarily framed as effective in quitting vaping or anything like that. It just do you think that the messaging is getting across to students? Just under 10% said they were very effective. So, but one of the things in the survey was that we asked, well, if you don't believe that this signs are effective, what could make them more effective? And so, as I mentioned previously, making the color of the signs stand out more, making the signs or text larger, which all of this feedback was integrated into the next set of signs that were designed for this program. Some students wanted more additional context to the signs about the dangers of vaping, and other students mentioned that due to bans on phones in schools, the QR code wasn't necessary and they weren't really able to access it, so they could save some space for additional messaging, bolder, brighter text, that sort of thing. So we were able to get some feedback on their perception and integrate it well into the next set of signs. Next slide, please. So on location, last thing that we really asked about was where could these signs go? And as you can see, most students really thought that there wasn't anywhere that the signs couldn't be in the school. 3/4 or thereabout said that they could go in the hallways. Over half said that these signs could go in cafeterias or gyms, and about half said that they could go in classrooms as well. And for additional areas that weren't a part of the question, students suggested that these signs go in locker rooms or the lobby or entrance to the school. So again, really kind of expanding the scope of where these signs can be placed based on student feedback. They were very receptive to expanding where these signs can be placed within schools as well. So not just a bathroom sign, but an all around the school sign for vaping messaging for sure. Next slide. That's all I've got for the survey. It was pretty quick. I was just trying to get some feedback from the students, and I think we really got some great feedback for the next steps. Thank you all.
Yes, Charles, thank you so much. Those were some definitely important and pertinent questions. And some really good feedback. And, that's one of the really important things that we want to stress in our time today, that, getting the students' feedback. Afterwards, of course, but then getting their input in the beginning, definitely makes a difference for what is impactful to them. And then once you get that feedback, like Charles mentioned a couple of times, the next iteration, because it should be something, as Leslie said earlier, should be something that we do on a continuous basis. So when we print up the next, set of decals or posters or literature, that we share with students to then take their feedback into account. So as you'll see, and on the next slide, we have some resources that any individual that is tuning in today can definitely take advantage of. Of course, we have a lot of this information and recordings of our EPCS, our Empowering People and Communities series, and other cessation resources. They're on our tobaccofreeliving.org website, and of course our partner, which is the Quit line for cessation resources. You can always call 1-800-QUIT NOW. And then for our teens and young adults, which is who we're focusing on today, Live Vape Free is a wonderful resource, free resource for teens and young adults. We have a partner, Well Ahead, Louisiana, and of course there is also a school vape free toolkit that teachers and administrators can take advantage of. And of course, our peer-to-peer support groups, which is our next era groups that can be formed either in the schools or out in the community, that are any youth-focused organizations, after-school programs. So those are resources that you all could take advantage of. And of course, after this webinar, not only will the recording be sent out to you, but you'll also have these takeaways and these resources that will be distributed to you as well. So now a call to action. If your school and our school district is interested in implementing this vaping prevention strategy in your schools, and Val shared earlier about how it is more than just the bathroom decals. please reach out to Val Huntley or me. Our emails are there on the screen, and we would be very happy to partner with you and to provide the technical assistance that you need to get these implemented in your schools, in your classrooms, or again, an organization that may provide some after school tutoring or training or activities for youth or even summer camps. That those would be some really great places to have these valuable resources that are going to help our youth. And as a note, you can definitely reach out to Val and I, but just know that the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, we are a statewide organization, and we have regional managers throughout the entire state. I've got four wonderful partners that do everything, that I do as well, and they'll be able to help you in your respective communities. So that is our call to action. When you are ready, hopefully very soon, we are available to help you to administer these projects there in your school and in your school districts. Please do not hesitate reaching out to us. So now we have some time for some question and answer session here. Michelle, do we have any questions that individuals have shared?
Yes, we have one question. The question is, how can other schools in the state get started with placing decals, education signs? Who do we contact?
Okay, and if we can go back a slide, hopefully that will help. And yes, that would be Valerie Huntley. And her email address is up there, vhuntley@lphi.org, or myself, Mitzi LaSalle, and it's mlasalle@lphi.org. Or of course, you can go to our Tobacco-Free Living, which is tobaccofreeliving.org website. And there is definitely a tab there for all of our staff that you can reach out or just send us an email to just information and contact needed, and just let us know what it is that you need, and we will definitely reach back out to you at our earliest convenience and get a meeting set up and get that started. Is there anything else?
In the chat says, would there be reporting available by district about how many students access the QR code or online resources?
Val, is that a question that you can answer?
Yes, we definitely have that information that we can share out in the email that we send out to everybody after the fact. We'll definitely send that out about how many students access the QR code.
That is awesome. We do have a little bit more time here. Val or Leslie or Charles, is there anything with this project that we did not, share earlier, or even if we shared it earlier, that you want to re-emphasize to our attendees?
Well, I was going to just reemphasize too that it is also about trial and error as well. I mean, this was piloted with the Calcasieu Parish School Board, and as Charles stated, we had a lot of feedback from the students, and it really is, finding what's going to stick with them. You do one thing, and then it's like sometimes you have to reverse and say, okay, based on that feedback, let's try this and see if this works. So it's really a lot of trial and error and things that you you try to do in order to engage the youth. And sometimes it's a lot of like thinking outside the box about what is going to resonate with them. And Leslie did share, that they're on TikTok, and so that's definitely something that would be good for someone to explore, like actually putting out messages, really short, you know, attention grabbing messages on TikTok.
Awesome. Yes, that sounds like a great idea. And thank you so much for emphasizing that in, each school district, I'm sure, and in some schools are different. And so there will be, some trial and error that even with the messaging that, we will develop as a team and know that this is a partnership. Yes, it is tobacco-free living led, but this is definitely a partnership with, each individual school, each individual school district of what, will work for you and for your students. And don't hesitate, again, thinking outside the box. And, let's at least give it a try. And then, let the students share with us, how it is impactful for them. And again, as Valerie mentioned earlier, and as that question prompted, you know, getting the data, getting the feedback on, how many of the youth are actually accessing those resources, because it is about messaging. But one of the important things that we want you all to know that it is always going to be connected to a free cessation resource that will be available to help the students to kick, this habit, to try to make better choices and decisions that can help them lead healthier lives. And I want to share this, and we were talking about thinking outside the box. So just a couple of weeks ago, I was in St. Landry Parish. And we very briefly to the school district there shared about this project. And one of the principals raised her hand in the meeting and said, and you also need to add them to the school buses. And I was like, oh, okay, you are absolutely right. Because that's where a lot of the vaping is also taking place, is there on the school buses. So to be able to take those same decals where we've placed them in the bathroom stalls and on the mirrors, they can also be placed on, school bus windows possibly. So it's times like that and conversations that we want to have in each school district of what would work for you. And of course, sometimes that might work, somewhere else as well. So thank you all so much for this very informative and important conversation.
And I'm sorry, Mitzi, there was a question about how long will the campaign run. The campaign is actually running. It's not going to stop. They're going to continue to run the bathroom decal, keep the bathroom decals in the bathrooms. The goal is to expand it beyond the bathroom decals, really based on what the youth have asked for, which is they want to see it everywhere. They want to see not only just that the headline, but they also want to see more. So we are working to expand that beyond just the bathroom decals, not only in Calcasieu Parish, but also working with a few other parishes to implement the same in theirs as well. So that's why we are working on that anti-vaping promotions plan in order to get that out to other parishes as well, and continue to work with Calcasieu.
All right, and we have another question. It says beyond initiatives like school decal or poster competitions, what other strategies in the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, wait, beyond initiatives like school decal or poster competitions, what other strategies is the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living using to meaningfully engage young people in shaping communication and messaging around tobacco and vaping prevention?
Right. So we do have like a few organizations that we, and Michelle could probably speak to these, but we do have uh peer organizations. Like we have a youth advisory board where it is composed of 13 youth on that board that are kind of like they're our ambassadors, and they are in high school, they're high school youth across the state of Louisiana. And so, like Leslie stated, I mean, it's not just about just the messaging on graphics or, us talking to them, but it's also that peer-to-peer interaction as well. And just to give an example, one of the our YAB had a situation where there was a young man in her class, and she actually asked Michelle and I, how did she handle? He was vaping in the classroom, and she was asking, she really wanted to talk to him about it and let him know that it was something that um, was harming him, that, there's help available. And she really wanted to know how to approach that. So that's just a real world example of how we are infusing like this education into these youth. And they're in turn, being voices in their schools and being ambassadors for that. As well, we put out several messaging on our social media about vaping and the harms of vaping. We have an Instagram page that is Tobacco-Free Living Instagram. And so I'm sorry, not Tobacco-Free Living. We have a We Are Next Era Instagram that we put out constant messaging for youth, as well as we have Next Era groups, which are also youth that are engaged in creating change in their communities. So it doesn't just stop with the graphics. It doesn't just stop with the social media and the actual printed, but it also expands to our youth as well. So I'm hoping that answered your question.
Yes, and I will add that as I shared before, I've got four other regional manager partners throughout the state of Louisiana, and we are also available to do in-person tobacco-free and vape-free living presentations. So if we are allowed to go into schools, and we have gone into some middle and high schools, that we can come into, your schools or your community, or even some after school programs, and we can do in-person presentations and education sessions and bring in those free resources that we could share in your community as well. So that is another strategy that we use, our in-person presentations. And so we are available to do those as well. So that's another strategy that the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living is using to educate our communities on living healthier. Are there any other questions or comments, Michelle?
Nope.
Okay, awesome. Well, this has absolutely been time well spent. And as we wrap up today, just want to again thank my panelists for joining me today, and for being champions for youth health and wellness. And we are available to continue, of course, to partner with any school district, any school, or youth-led organization, or youth-focused organization, to provide a lot of these same free resources. So thank you all for being with us and sharing this important innovative project. And we look forward to hearing from others who tuned in today on some of your ideas that would work in your community. And of course, we will definitely partner with you on making an impact in your communities. And at the end of this session, and even right now in the chat, we definitely ask that you all please give us your feedback on today's session. It definitely helps us to, become better at what we do, and to provide the information that you seek and that you need for your community. So please fill out the survey that's going to pop up afterwards. And as we continue our work through our Empowering People and Communities series, we also ask that you join us next month. Join Regional Manager Maddie Hawkins and her panelists that will talk about caring for a loved one with cancer, supporting African American families facing lung cancer with limited resources. That is going to take place on April the 9th. And we will definitely send out additional information on how you can join in that conversation. And we just look forward to, and again, on the evaluation, just share with us any other topics that would interest you, that would be beneficial for you and your community. Any other last thoughts from any of our panelists?
Nope.
All
Thank you.
right. Awesome. Okay, we're hearing none. We definitely, again, thank you all for joining us for our March edition of our Empowering People and Communities series. Look out for that survey that will pop up. Please share your thoughts with us. Look out for the recording that will be sent out. And know that we are on, we have a YouTube channel, or you can also go to our website, the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, and check out some of our past EPCSs with different topics that can definitely help you in your communities to live healthier lives. And we look forward to partnering with any school district, school, or youth-focused organization within the state of Louisiana to work with you to provide these free resources and information on prevention and interventions on living a tobacco and vape-free life. So again, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.